everyone, it's Evie and Mitch, and we are currently in Kochi. We have just finished our Gadventures North to South India on a shoestring tour, and we're going to try and keep this pretty short because long talking videos are really boring, but we just want to give a bit more of a review and our experience about our trip. So initially, why did we pick to go on Gadventures? Why did we pick to go on a Gadventures India tour?
We basically picked Gadventures as a part of the tour because it's our first destination, part of our year-long trip, so it made it like easy for us, made it sort of everything accessible, and we didn't have to do it ourselves. And that was basically it.
Yeah, I work in a travel company, or used to work in a travel company, and we had India as part of that, and after researching into it a little bit more, they pretty much just said, you know, just book a tour, go over the tour. As you said, it makes everything a lot easier. You know, you come out of each airport, you come out train station, and there's already your tuk-tuks or your transport already waiting for you. So quickly, we're going to do one positive and one negative each of the trip in general, and then we're going to do a positive and negative of going with Gadventures or a tour group. So you like to go first for your positive and negative, or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
You go first. Okay, so your trip in general, positive and negative.
Positive of the whole trip in general was visiting South India, around Kerala, the whole sort of state around there. It's just a more relaxed way of life. Everyone's kind of like chill, no stress, and it's just beautiful down there. My negative has to be the amount of plastic everywhere. There are like signs saying do this, do that, so there is a bit of something trying to help, but there's just plastic and rubbish everywhere you go. That's my negative of the trip. Yeah.
And for me, positive, I think, was a bottle's just fallen over. Oh no. For me, a positive was just Taj Mahal. I think that was our second day in our trip, and I just think it was a really nice day. It was pouring down with rain, unfortunately, but we still got good photos. There was just sort of a bit of a buzz in the group, and everyone was really happy. And again, it was one of the 6 wonders of the world. A negative was the day that we were traveling Udaipur to Mumbai so basically Udaipur to I'm really sorry, I can't pronounce it, like Ahmedabad on a 7-hour sleeper bus, which was basically a no air-conned sticky leather bed that you were on all day. It was horrible, and then you went straight onto a night train, and that was for me my worst bit because everyone else had got their beds, and there was an older couple who decided that I wasn't allowed to have my bed out because they didn't want to go to sleep and they wanted to sit up, so I had to sort of stand and wait for them to decide when I was allowed to set my bed up and actually pull my bed out. But because of where they were sat, basically they were blocking my area, and it was just a mix of frustration, tiredness, hot, like we were so hot and bothered. I was just like, can you please just let me get my bed out, and they just weren't interested in talking to it. We had some locals trying to help us as well, and they were just standing their ground. They weren't letting me have my bed. After about 40 minutes of standing and watching them, I finally was allowed to set up my bed and then eventually go to sleep. Right, so a positive and negative of going on a tour / Gadventures.
Positive to go with Gadventures is that, like I say again, is the ease of everything, and everything's there for you, done for you. You don't really have to worry. My negative is the size of the group in our first tour. We had 17 people, and having 17 people to like maneuver around is a lot of people. I quite like little short small groups, so our second tour was only 7-8 of us, and that was a lot better, but I'd still say that the sizes of the tours. Yeah.
I think my positive is pretty similar to yours as well, is that it was just, there was so much ease with the whole, with just all of our transport organised, all of our accommodation organised, just everything. We turned up, everything was there, don't need to worry about everything. So for us as a starting into India, it was quite nice to have, and starting our travels, it was nice to sort of ease us in. A negative for me is about tipping money. It became a bit of a sour point between the group. Our CEO, I'm not going to mention any names, basically would say, oh, this trip costs this trip costs this, or the tipping costs this, and we would go find it so much more cheaper on Uber. So a tuk-tuk, for example, would be 100 rupees per person per tuk-tuk, but actually it would cost us 80 rupees for the whole tuk-tuk for 3 people. And when we suggested, oh, we're gonna go get a tuk-tuk or an Uber instead, there was a bit of a, I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it almost was like, well, I'm not gonna give you the proper address because you're going separately to the group, or it took our Uber drivers quite a long time to find it, and it became just a bit of a sour patch. And the same with the tipping, is that we were getting told quite extortionate amounts to tip, and when we worked it out, it was going to cost us, when we, you know, over the whole trip, it was going to cost us quite a lot to do that. And we googled it before, we researched into it, and it was tip when you want and where you think the service is recognised, rather than it has to be there, has to be doing everything. So that was a bit of a sour point for me. Ultimately, the Gadventures North to South India on a shoestring obviously is a 21-day tour, but that's technically, I'd say it's 19 days, because you've got 19 days. So you've got your first day where you arrive and have the welcome meeting at night, and that's it. And then the last day is you just pretty much saying goodbye to each other. And then, as you said, it's split into 2.
Yeah,
so,
we thought it was going to be one whole like tour toward the end, the same tour guide, but we found out, I don't know how many days in was it?
I think it's 15.
15 days in, we said goodbye to one CEO and flew down to Kochi to find our new CEO. So it was like 2 tours put together, made to one. So we thought that was a little bit kind of a bit of a shock, because we expected it to be the whole thing, but it worked out well in the end. Yeah,
we had no issues. It was, we were flying, you fly Goa to Kochi by yourself. You're obviously given all the tickets and everything, but say if you were the only person doing that, that might be a bit daunting for you. But yeah, just a warning in advance, it's split into 2. So there's a 15-dayer and then the 7-day at the end.
I mean, it would be nice to know beforehand by Gadventures to see if it is a tour split or if it's just a tour, so like a solid tour.
So ultimately, do you think it was worth it?
Yes.
I
do think it's worth it.
Okay.
Do you think it's worth it?
I think the idea of it and everything, totally worth it. We had a lovely group. We were very, very fortunate with that. We just had, you know, it was hot the whole time, but we had good weather. We just had sort of good everything. Both of our CEOs were great. Can't complain about them at all. Money's worth. Admittedly, you could do this a lot cheaper. You could do everything a lot cheaper, transport, everything, you know. You wouldn't pay as much as we paid. So we paid 1,400 per person for the 21 days.
And that's not including food.
No, not including food, tipping or flights. So again, as I said, you could do it cheaper, but to be honest, I think money's worth for us, yes. Just because it made everything easier, it eased us into traveling, and we just had a really good time.
Would you recommend Gadventures to anyone else?
I would recommend Gadventures. I like the booking services, the booking system, you know, pretty easy as well.
App as well, they've got an app.
Yeah.
So you can speak to people on the app, find out whatever you want on the app, itinerary on the app.
You can have a little chat, you know, everything through there. I would recommend Gadventures, hands down. I'm probably a 10 out of 10 for that one. Obviously, I've got a few little negatives or improvements that I'd like to make. If you guys have any questions, pop a message in the comments below and I'll try and answer them. But other than that, I think it's good to do.